I like that. Victory. Victory. And that song talks about the evidence of the victory, the evidence of who I am. And so I'm hoping, wishing, praying, Michael, that someone in here today doesn't really buy into the concept of who they are as one with God. I'm hoping, I'm wishing, I'm praying there's somebody who's out there who's a doubting Thomas. I'm hoping there's somebody who has seen the truth, heard the truth, but it's distorted right now. I'm hoping there's somebody out there who's just feeling like, I don't have the energy to exchange it with you today, Glenn. Because all we're here to do on Sundays is exchange energy. Exchange energy. And it is that energy of love. It's that vibrational force that elevates our energy level. And when we engage in that energy level exchange, something happens. And so I'm speculating that something is about to happen this morning, Paul. Something good is about to happen. Can you say something good is about to happen? And victory shall be yours. And so when you all stand, when somebody talks about a victory, that means you have to rise to the occasion, right? Yeah. Mr. Banks, nobody's just going to give you a trophy you won. You're shouting loud. I saw the Boston Celtics win the championship. They're drinking champagne and everything, smoking everything. Anybody here was smoking with them? I don't need to know your personal business. Don't ask, don't tell. That's how it goes. I want to do an affirmation, but you have to really key into the words of the affirmation, all right? Because it's relevant to the message. Because if you get this affirmation in your mind, body, and spirit, at the end of this message, you'll understand where the journey today has taken us. So if you want to take a picture, you can, but we got to do this, y'all. We got to do this with energy, emotion, feelings, because we want the victory. So be it. So repeat after me in your highest level of enthusiastic energy. Can we do that? Today, I awaken to the divine truth within me. As a beloved child of the Most High, I recognize my inherent power and divine potential. I am a co-creator with God, capable of transforming my reality and living a life of abundance and purpose. I embrace my identity as a spiritual being connected to the infinite source of wisdom, of love, and creativity. I release all limiting beliefs and step boldly into my divine inheritance, knowing that within me lies the power to create, to influence, and to transform my world. Look at somebody and say, I'm about to change. And this change is going to be an exchange for the better. All right, Mr. Banks. All right, you may be seated. Oh, I like that metamorphosis. Now, we're going to race through this message because at the very end, you're going to really need to know the 5 steps to transformation. Now, I'm going to tee it up, set it up for you in this short message. But in the workshop that follows, I'm going to go deeper. So I'm sure nobody has any kind of birthday, anniversary celebration, so we should be at that workshop. And that workshop is just going to be 1 hour. How many minutes is in 1 hour? Anybody say 30? I heard somebody say 30. Now, I want you to come to terms with something about yourself that most people struggle with. Most people who hear me say this are going to say it's problematic. How do I know they're going to say it's problematic? Because when I've said it before, people have kind of like frowned up. They shunned it and said, ooh, not me. That's not possible. I can't be that powerful. I can't be in that kind of relationship that's built on faith and love, power, dominion, and authority. No way, not me. You don't know my past. And that past serves as a way to block all the divinity within me or diminish it to just scraps. And so if you have a problem with this, you think it's blasphemy? Read the Bible. Okay? I've extracted this straight out the Bible so you couldn't say Reverend Glenn up there losing his mind. What is he smoking, drinking? So I want to turn to this. Psalms 82:6. It says something that has to do with our identity. You are God's. You are all sons of the Most High. Can we read that? I said, you are God's. You are all sons of the Most High. It's safe to put Dorn in there too. No bias here. Remember, I'm the chief diversity officer. So let's break this down. I said, who is saying that? I said, that's God. God said, I said. You are God's. What is God saying about you? That you're co-creators. What's wrong with that? What's wrong with saying I'm in an intimate relationship to the point to where we're synchronized to the point where we can co-create? What's wrong with that? We're co-creators. You are all, meaning everyone. No one is left out. No child of God is left behind. Do you understand that? No one's left behind. Sons of the Most High is what? Your divine lineage. It's in your bloodline. It's part of your DNA. And so if we understand this, you are God's, then all the little things that's holding you back are something we need to take a little bit deeper dive into. Can we go a little bit deeper? You are God's, identifying that that is not blasphemous. God is saying, I made you in my image and likeness, and because of that, you have all the different divine characteristics of me. I put you here to be a divine expression of me. There's many dimensions. There are many rooms in my Father's house. And because there are many rooms in my Father's house, you choose on this day which room you'll go into. Will you go into the room that's filled with darkness, despair, or light, hope, synchronicity with the love of God? Choose this day which one you'll enter into and stay there this time. This time, I don't want you to be elusive. This time, I don't want you to believe in duality, that there's two of me, the yin and the yang. There's the good and the bad, the pretty, the ugly. Understand that game that we play with ourselves? There's a good me and there's a bad me. Sometimes I believe there is a good Glenn and a bad Glenn. according to the scenario or the situation, but it's not. It's only one. And so God is telling you to think of yourselves as co-creators. That means I need you to stop thinking of yourself as grasshoppers facing giants. Remember that scenario? Go scout out the land. See what's there. See what's the opportunity for us to come in to the promised land. But they said, we see giants. And we feel like tiny little grasshoppers. And seeing ourselves as tiny little grasshoppers against the giants, we don't see the generosity, the grace of God. We don't see the giant nature of the Spirit of God. We don't see the giant nature of God to take over in a situation that looks very dark and breathe new life into it. We don't see it. So have you ever considered yourself to be facing a giant and you felt as though you were a grasshopper? Raise your hand if you ever felt like a grasshopper. And the thing about being a grasshopper, when we were little kids, we used to get the little mason jar and catch grasshoppers. And sometimes if we had good advice, we'd poke holes in the top so the grasshoppers wouldn't die. But the idea was that we had them encapsulated to the point where they couldn't move around, couldn't live out their true potential. And all of a sudden, we think of ourselves in that same scenario as grasshoppers in a mason jar, hoping that someone has poked holes in the top of it. Y'all getting this message? So we say, stop in the name of love. Stop. Can we just say stop? Now do it like you really are one of the supremes. Stop in the name of love. Why do we say, ooh, I like that. Stop in the name of love. Because if you understand the love that God has for you, understanding you need to stop this pattern of thinking where we see ourselves as this proverbial grasshoppers, unable to leap to higher heights. Stop in the name of love, because you're breaking God's heart. And you're breaking your own heart at the same time, because you know there's so much more to you than meets the eye. Is that right? Raise your hand if that's right. That's right. And we know this to be true. And so God says you are God's capable of co-creating with me, meaning that you have the ability to create, to influence, and to transform your reality. And so whatever you're experiencing right now, I want you to bring it to the forefront of your mind. Whatever your dilemma is, whatever the problem is, the situation that's making you doubt, bring it to the forefront. Raise your hand when you have it in the forefront of your mind. Don't worry, I'm not going to ask you to share it. But just bring it to the forefront of your mind. That thing that's burdening you, that thing that's bothering you, that thing that's belittling you. Bring it to the forefront of your mind right now. And tell it, I am the son, the daughter of the Most High. I am a divine being having a human experience. But my divinity supersedes anything that I see, feel. And that's what I'm living with. See, there's tension in here. You feel the tension? Feel the tension. As I say, bring those issues to the forefront of your mind. A level of tension comes to mind. Why is there tension? Because when we talk about you are God's co-creators, everyone's the son of the Most High, what happens? That tension is raised. It's that problem in the subconscious mind resurrecting itself above your conscious mind. And so it holds the consciousness hostage to the subconscious mind. You understand that? No, you don't, not yet. And it's okay. I'm saying to you that the subconscious mind is like a sponge. The subconscious mind soaks up everything you ever experienced, every word you've heard, every emotion you've experienced, every feeling you've ever expressed. It's like a sponge. And sponges just soak up everything and won't let it go, right? That's the history of a sponge. And your subconscious mind is that sponge that keeps soaking up everything and won't release it. What's that thing that happened to you when you was 5 years old, 6 years old, is still in your mind? Because it didn't work out good for you. Was it that point where your mother yelled at you? And all of a sudden you realize this is something that I shouldn't do again. What was the experience? Well, we carry these things in our mind. You can smell something at the age of 6 years old, and it stays with you. I can just sense it, smell it. Frying fish. Smell it. Can you smell it? Chocolate cake. You trying to tell me something? I'll bring you a chocolate cake next week. It's those kind of things that the subconscious mind just holds on to. And because of that, the consciousness that is the presence, the now, the here, the current, can't overcome the subconscious mind. And it becomes a problem, right? Because every time you try to do something that's above what you're thinking, the subconscious mind pulls you in. And the subconscious mind tells you, you can't do that. You're not ready to do that. Think about all the past experience where you failed. You're not ready. So don't even try it. How many people have some things you haven't even tried? Because the subconscious mind keeps playing recordings of what happened in the past. That's everybody in here, including me. My life took a slow track at one point. Well, I was at a snail's pace. And I had to realize it was something in the subconsciousness that was bothering my consciousness. The conscious under hostile takeover. Understand that you couldn't pay me 20 years ago, Daddy, to get in front of an audience and speak because I had this image of being Fat Glenn. Fat Glenn. And that's all I heard coming up. Fat Glenn. And so because of that, I never wanted to stand in front of people. It's a mental thing embedded in the subconscious mind. And so now as I lose weight for health reasons, not bodybuilding reasons, as people say you're losing weight, I have a hard time seeing it. Isn't that amazing? People say you've lost so much weight, but I don't see it because in my subconscious mind, I still hear that recording from elementary school, first grade, Fat Glenn. So the subconscious mind can still hold you hostage. And so we need to work on that, right? What's the thing that your subconscious mind has held hostage for you? Because we have to deal with that now. And all of us have had that experience that turned off love and our ability to love. And that's a problem. The subconscious mind holds on to everything, and the subconscious mind will tell you, I can forgive, but I can't. Oh, y'all familiar with that? Because it plays out, doesn't it? I'll forgive you like it's some kind of great decree. I forgive you, but I'll never forget it. And so what does that do to the conscious mind? It creates that. It's toxic. It's that tension. That tension. I want to love. I want to be loved. But there's that tension between what I've experienced before. And so I can't thrust myself to love freely, uninhibited. You see it? That tension. But never forget, the most powerful tool we have in our toolbox is what? The imagination. The imagination allows us to think about, to dream of something better than what we think our subconscious mind is telling us. Drowning in the subconscious. This is where we get stuck. And so today is about making a move. Make a move. Can we say make a move? You're in the club, we say bust a move. You said turn up. But it's about making a move away from that cyclical nature of life, the so-called human condition of thinking that life is supposed to be a cycle of what? Truth, trauma, and transformation. That's what we believe, right? I start off and I know the truth. I'm educated to the truth. I practice the truth. My spiritual base, my religious base shows me the truth, teaches me the truth, but then trauma hits my life. And that traumatic experience. What is that traumatic experience for you? But the common trait is it pauses you. It stagnates you to the point where you can't live the truth. And so I'm here to ask you today, can you handle the truth? Can you handle the truth? And the truth is, we have to transform over the trauma. And so in that workshop, what we're going to do is take your trauma that you're holding on to like that sponge, and we're finally going to release it. We say in unity, release and what? Release and let go. Release and let go sounds good, but if you don't understand the conscious and the subconscious, it's just mere words that we say. I'm ready to release and let go, but I don't know the power of my subconscious. See, the conscious is supposed to be the master, and the subconscious is supposed to be the servant, but it's switched around for most of us. In that the subconscious is the master, and the conscious is the servant. And it's problematic, because it's creating this dilemma for us. And so in the scenario, we're saying there's not supposed to be a you that's sometimes up and sometimes down, sometimes healthy, sometimes sick, sometimes rich, sometimes poor, thrust in the middle of the haves and the have-nots. Sometimes I feel like a nut, and sometimes I don't. It is. But it's not supposed to be an almond joy. It's supposed to be continuous joy. But I do sometimes. If I'm being honest with you, sometimes I feel like a nut, and sometimes I don't. But in those times where I feel like a nut, I'm in that space where I just don't see the future as being hopeful. But you got to understand that part of my subconscious issues of why I can't release and let go, why I won't wring out that sponge, is that my ego is so big. My ego won't let me go forward. My ego won't let me ask for help. My ego tells me that I'm okay. My ego says everyone else is the problem. And it's not me. The world is throwing some things at me, and because they're throwing things at me, it's their fault. It's Biden's fault. It's Trump's fault. But God trumps both of them. And so Reinhard Niebuhr said something that stuck with me. He said, it's always wise to seek the truth in our opponents' error and the error in our own truth. How about that for two sides to the story? Saying you can look outside if you want to, but you better be seeking the truth in your opponents. There's a lesson in every situation, but you also need to look inside. And it's when we look inside that we see it's our ego. And the ego is ignoring truth. Truth is, you are part of the Most High. And with that truth, you can transcend the errors of your thinking. Can we say thinking? My errant thinking. My error thinking. And I would say, it is a season for doing better. Can we say that? It's a season for doing better. My. This message sure feels good to me. Johnny Gill. Reverend, all of these little vernaculars, these little street terms I'm using, I don't know where you at after church, but I'm going to have to follow you. Can somebody follow her? The conscious drowned by the subconscious. And now we have to unlock the subconscious mind that remembers, that interferes with everything that we want to move forward to in the conscious. So the question is, how do we do that? How do we do that? How do we unlock the subconscious mind so the conscious can be free to move forward? I wish it was that simple, sister. But it's not. But I think if we look at Luke 11:52 and stay here for a quick minute. Whoa! Can we say whoa? Everybody say whoa! Whoa, whoa, whoa! Woe to the experts in the law, because you have taken away the key to knowledge. You yourselves have not entered, and you have hindered those who are entering. Now, that's a lot. Can we break that down? Can we break it down? All right, the lowest common denominator. Well, let's go there. Woe to the experts in the law. It's the ego. Right? Because everyone has this opinion that my way is the right way, the best way. And anything that interferes with that notion that I'm right and you're wrong, the ego gets in the way of that, right? So you become an expert in the law. The law of who? Me, myself, and I, right? That's what we do. Because you have taken away means what? You've created a blockage. But the blockage is what? To the key of knowledge. Why is that key of knowledge so important? Why is it so important? Because if the subconscious is locked and acting as a sponge that won't let go of anything, then we need a key to unlock it, right? Your subconscious mind, I would guarantee for some of you, you have a padlock on your subconscious mind. Everything that has gone in is still there, and you're just soaking up everything. And so it is. The key to knowledge, the subconscious access. Can we say subconscious access? Now, we know this is important, right? Right, Paul? We know this is important because we got to unlock that subconscious mind. Because we can't free that conscious mind until we release and let go of everything that's in the subconscious mind. And there's a lot of stuff in there. And so when we look at that, you yourselves have not entered. What is that? Why can't you enter? Because lack of self-awareness is what? I'm afraid to look at myself. In the real, I'm afraid to really take a look at myself, to really look in the mirror and just stare at myself and say, this is who I really see. How many of us do that daily? Just say, I'm going to look at myself and see all that there is to see. And there's some things I'm going to like, some things not so much. But we have to address them, right? The lack of self-awareness is meaning that I don't want to be aware of myself. And most of us don't want to be aware of ourselves. So what do? We engage in this thing in counseling we call transference. Transference is when we misplace our attention on someone else. I live vicariously through my kids. I live for my kids. It sounds good, doesn't it? Sounds like you're in real service. But is it really, I'm afraid at this point in my life to really become aware of myself and be honest with myself and say, I still want to do some things. I still want to do some greater things than I have before. Why not? Marianne Williamson has a book and she talks about this time of life, middle age and beyond, are the best years of your life. Why? Because for the first time you have a track record of wisdom and knowledge, experiences that can culminate into something great. I don't have to slow up because I know when I look down that road and I'm experiencing those different signs, I know the signs now. I know the signs. And so I know what's ahead. And I can avoid those potholes, even in Michigan. And you have hindered those who were entering, what is it? Self-sabotage. How many of us self-sabotage? Raise your hand. And just say, me too. Me too. Me too. We all self-sabotage ourselves on something. And it stops us from getting what we really want, to be, to do, to have. We self-sabotage. Spiritually, mentally, physically, financially, relationship-wise, we self-sabotage. And so once we come to terms with it, it's okay. We're just here to unlock the subconscious mind. And if we do that, we can go to a higher level. And it's that higher level, Ryan, that we want to be at. That higher level that we key into the subconscious mind. And for the first time, we unlock it. And we unlock that subconscious mind. And we walk through that door and we say, come out. Come out. All the feelings and emotions, the videos, the files that we've been keeping stored away, we can finally say, I truly release and let go. I move beyond my trauma, my drama, and I begin to see myself as one with the Most High. And when I do that, I began to acknowledge and explore just who I really am. I remove the blockages so there are no more barriers. I cultivate self-awareness and I empower myself to do greater things. If we can engage in this process, we'll lead ourselves up that mountain, that proverbial mountain that we've been trying to climb up. Sometimes it seems like 2 steps forward, 1 step back. And in some cases, it's 1 step forward and 2 steps back. Anybody ever experienced that? I know I have. Don't leave me out of that. So in the workshop today, we're going to deal with this thing. And from my perspective, you're going to be the only ones walking the earth, Reverend Wilmer, with the key to unlocking your subconscious mind and moving beyond the trauma. How many people in here know you're dealing with trauma? How many people know you're holding on to old files in your mind, old recordings, old visuals? And in a snap of a finger, I can recall the worst of times better than I can the best of times. And so we have some work to do, right? Are you ready to work? Because I believe the best of you is yet to come, yet to be revealed. But right now, we got to unseal it. And once we unseal it, the gift can be shared with everyone. And I believe there's something good in you. I believe that you can claim victory. You ready to go? Can we all stand? This is an affirmation. But you got to feel it. You got to say to yourself, I finally understand this is my subconscious mind that's holding my consciousness hostage. And when I know something, and I know what I know, when I know what I know, I can do something about it. I can move beyond it. That's where we want to be. So repeat after me, but this time spread out. No hands in pockets. No hands crossed. Those are all signs of resistance. I can read you like a book. I'm standing here, but I'm not just ready to release and let go. I'm really not ready to open up the subconscious mind because it's so good, it's so familiar to me. It is me. But I'm just saying it's okay to say it's me. It's me, oh Lord, standing in the need of prayer. And there's nothing wrong with that. I do it constantly, probably 4 or 5 times a day when I can't figure it out. But I don't want to go back the wrong way. I've seen it the other way. I've seen my mother and father and the way they lived. And I'm determined not to repeat the past. I love my mother and father. Always will. But I don't want to travel down that road, and I shouldn't, right? If you know better, if you know better, if you know better, well, why don't we do better? So let's affirm it. Our commitment. Repeat after me. I affirm. No, 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 no. He got his arms crossed in the back. He got one of these. Open up. Surrender yourself. Set yourself free. I affirm that the barriers of my subconscious mind are now dissolved. I embrace the divine knowledge within me, accessing the depths of my consciousness out of the subconsciousness to bring forth healing, clarity, and transformation. I am free from the past, fully present in the now, and empowered to create my prosperous future. With conscious awareness, I step into it. A season of doing better. Living in total alignment with my highest self. I am a divine being, a co-creator with God Almighty. And my life reflects the limitless possibilities of my spiritual nature. And we come into agreement and we say, amen. You may be seated. Renaissance Unity, my energy and enthusiasm only shines through because I love you, and there's nothing you can do about it.